The real reason your flight is delayed is almost never the one they announce over the loudspeaker, and that every time you sit there at the gate, staring at the new departure time flashing on the monitor, you're basically being played like a pawn in a giant airline chess game, a game where time, money, and psychology are the pieces, not just weather or mechanical issues like they want you to believe. Think about it for a second. How many times have you heard that your flight is late because of a late incoming aircraft or air traffic congestion, when in reality, the truth is way more twisted and honestly kind of shocking? Airlines know that if they tell passengers the real reasons, chaos would erupt inside the terminal, so they feed you the easiest excuse. But the behind-the-scenes story is something you rarely hear unless you talk to insiders who've worked the ground, the crews who whisper after hours, or the controllers who roll their eyes when another passenger announcement gets sugar-coated. See, delays are often less about safety and more about strategy, because airlines build something called buffer time into their schedules, but not in the way you think. They'll pad flight durations so they can arrive on time, even when they leave late. And they'll deliberately shuffle departure slots depending on which flight carries more high-paying passengers, cargo value, or international connections they can't afford to lose, meaning your vacation flight to Miami might be bumped in favor of a half-empty business-class heavy route to London. And here's a fact nobody wants to say out loud. Sometimes your plane is sitting right there at the gate, ready to board, but they delay the boarding process simply to avoid paying gate fees or to sync with crew duty hour regulations, because the law says crews can only work a certain number of hours. So if they start too early, they risk timing out mid-flight, which would cause cancellations costing the airline millions. So instead they stall you in the terminal, in that uncomfortable limbo where you're frustrated but powerless. Crazy, right? But it doesn't stop there. Weather is often used as a blanket excuse, even when only part of the truth. Because if they blame bad weather, they dodge legal obligations like compensation or free meals in certain countries, since weather counts as extraordinary circumstances that aren't their fault, while a staffing shortage or a mechanical oversight would make them liable. So guess which explanation you'll always hear first. And don't think it's just about the flights. Airport slot systems themselves are like high-stakes auctions where airlines fight for takeoff and landing rights, and sometimes they'll intentionally delay one route just to preserve a more valuable slot on another, because keeping that slot in the future means billions over time. Imagine that. You're missing a wedding, a funeral, or a once-in-a-lifetime trip, not because of a broken plane or bad weather, but because an airline accountant decided the numbers didn't work in your favor today. And here's the part that most travelers never consider. Delays actually make airlines money in sneaky ways. Concession revenue in airports skyrockets when flights run late because hungry, bored passengers buy overpriced food, drinks, and duty-free, and guess who gets a cut of that? Yep, the airlines and their partners. So in some cases, keeping you on the ground longer literally fattens their pockets. Now, let me paint you a scene. You're sitting in an airport lounge, angry at yet another 30-minute delay, and the gate agent tells you with a smile that the plane needs final checks. But upstairs, in a closed conference call, managers are deciding whether to swap your aircraft with another flight that carries elite status passengers who'll get priority, while you, an average flyer, are just a number on a spreadsheet. And the most haunting part? Pilots and crew often know the real reasons hours before passengers do, but strict communication rules stop them from saying it. Because if word got out too soon, social media outrage could spiral into brand damage. So the next time you hear that soft, scripted announcement about a small delay, remember, it might not be about safety or even weather, but about money, contracts, crew hours, slot games, and airport deals that you were never meant to know. And the scariest question of all is this: if airlines hide the truth about something as basic as a delay, what else are they hiding from us when we're 30,000 feet in the sky?